corner of 25 West Main Street in downtown Vermilion. The Spa at Winnie Mae's is proud to support programming on Coyote News. The Spa at Winnie Mae's, providing salon and spa services for men, women, and children.
Plus, an inside look with a student EMT. Coyote News starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
Good evening, I'm Sierra Prue.
And I'm Rachel Peckosh. We'll have those stories and more, but first, a former Vermilion High School Spanish teacher is facing 6 criminal charges that include stalking, furnishing alcohol to a minor, and sexual exploitation. The affidavit indicates that the USD graduate Jackson Pichardo began messaging one of his 15-year-old students in May. An investigation was started by the South Dakota Department of Criminal Investigation and the Vermilion Police Department in August. Pichardo was released from jail on a $5,000 bond and is expected to appear in court later this month.
A dumpster fire started outside the Warren Emily Fine Arts Building Sunday night. The Vermilion Fire Department responded around 8:30 to a report of cardboard on fire. No cause has been determined and the fire was extinguished. The VFD also responded to a fire call inside Julian Hall last week and found smoke in the building. The cause is under criminal investigation.
The University of South Dakota is ranked 239 on the latest U.S. News and World Report's Best National Universities list, jumping 10 spots from last year's ranking. This is the 30th consecutive year the university has been on the list. USD is also ranked as the top public university in the Dakotas, coming in at 118 in the top public schools list, making this the 2nd consecutive year.
Last Saturday, Women in Philanthropy announced its 4 new initiatives. The group is made of USD alumni who come together to support the university students. Abuk Jeel, the Director of Development for the USD Women in Philanthropy, explains the goals.
Once you hear about these initiatives and what these organizations and groups plan to do on campus, you really start to see how important it is for all students to be involved.
It quickly became, what do we do?
The President's Senior Leadership Institute, the Cultural Wellness Coalition, Women's Leader Speaker Series, and the Native Student Services Living Learning Community are all part of the new initiatives of the club. Women in Philanthropy encourages women leaders at USD with their upcoming events this year.
Still to come on Coyote News, a colorful celebration for the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Stay with us.
The Media and Journalism Department has opened my eyes to a world of new careers and occupations that I never knew were possible.
I'm an M&J major because I wanted to be a part of something that is important, and whether we realize it or not, media and journalism is around us every single day.
The Media and Journalism Department has allowed me to gain pretty hands-on experience and jump right into student media activities.
Climbing's awesome because it's challenging, both mentally and physically.
You gotta love climbing because even when you're not climbing, you get a great view.
Climbing's great because I feel like Spider-Man.
Climbing is great, because even my nerd friends can do it.
Climbing's awesome because there's always someone who has your back.
Come to the rock wall and figure out why climbing's awesome for you.
This is Coyote News.
This past weekend was the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attack on the World Trade Center. The 730th Area Support Medical Group and the Vermilion community hosted a ceremony and a 5K color run to commemorate the day. Coyote News' Riley Sullivan explains why it's important to remember.
Over 200 people gathered at the plots at downtown Vermilion this past Saturday morning for a ceremony and 5K dedicated to the 20th anniversary of those that lost their lives and loved ones on 9/11, hosted by the 730th Area Support Medical Company in Vermilion.
And we have a lot of unit members who were in at that time or got in because of the events that happened on 9/11, and we are going to have an opening ceremony just to remember all those events, remember the people and the sacrifices that ended up being made.
The 730th ASMC held a common theme throughout the ceremony and 5K.
That tells us, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
First Sergeant Clint Sandness explained why the 20th anniversary is significant and why they got involved.
Since it's been 20 years, it's just a great opportunity for us to get involved with the community and to support something, just to remember the victims of 9/11 and everything that has happened since then, and because our world changed a lot that day.
Although ribs, rods, and rock and roll and a car show are taking place at the same time and place, the main focus remained the remembrance of 9/11.
It just helps us to remember. It's important that we remember our history and we learn from it. And militarily, a lot of things changed after 9/11. And it's just very important that we understand what happened that day and the impact it had on our world. And this is just one way for us to get that out in the community and remember the victims. A lot of Americans paid with their lives that day and since then in war. And it's important to remember that and learn from our history.
For Coyote News, I'm Riley Sullivan.
Thanks, Riley. USD President Sheila Gestring is hosting the annual all-campus picnic. Coyote News' Michael Stake is live at the picnic to ask about next week's State of the University address. Michael?
Thanks, Sierra. I'm here with President Sheila Gestring. Sheila, can you tell us a little bit about this picnic and what's all going on?
Absolutely. This is a picnic for the students, the faculty, the staff. We're, of course, delighted to have the students back on campus, and we're grateful to the faculty and staff for everything they do to help with the students' success. Also a time to bring their families, so we get a little fun, food, and fellowship.
And switching gears to next week, can you tell us a little bit about the State of the University address and if there's going to be any surprises in store?
There might be a surprise or two in store, but I'm not going to disclose that now. I want everyone to show up and come here for themselves at 4 o'clock on the 23rd. We'll go over a few items relative to maybe some enrollment and how we're doing there, talk more about the strategic plan and some progress we've made, and maybe a surprise or two.
And why do you think the students should attend the address?
I think it's a great time to learn about what all has been happening and what is planned for the future at the university so that they're kept informed and understand everything their university is doing to try and make sure their experience is the best it can be.
Thank you. Live at the President All-Campus Picnic, I'm Michael Stake.
Thanks, Michael. President Gestring will make her State of the University address on Thursday, the 23rd.
Cities near Vermilion are implementing mask mandates. School board meetings have been getting viral attention and mixed emotions. USD and Vermilion schools are not following a mandate. The city of Mitchell went viral 2 weeks into this school year due to a school board vote enforcing a mask mandate. Mitchell's meeting attendees were quick to loudly oppose this decision. Yankton implemented a 6-week mandate for students and faculty. The university's president, Sheila Gestring, reported back to us and says, currently all South Dakota public universities stay on level 0 and that we are lower than we were at this time last year.
Last night, USD's Student Government Association passed Senate Bill 63 as an emergency measure. Senate Bill 63 approves funding for Safe Rides, a bus service for students and community members to use for a safe ride home. The bill approves $1,250 funding 2 weekends of safe rides.
Student life can be busy enough. Add to it even more time-consuming part-time job and it's even more difficult. Coyote News' Grant Robertson reports on how one student finds the time for both as an EMT.
Being a full-time student can be stressful enough. Combine this with a part-time job as an EMT, and one can naturally assume it could be a lot to juggle. Ben Kalesa is a USD student as well as part-time Vermilion EMT who manages to deal with such an intimidating workload.
Mainly I take shifts here at night, so I'm on call from about 7 o'clock p.m. to about 7 a.m. When we're on call, we just have to be within 5 minutes of the station. So if I'm at my house, which is just by campus, I'm able to get over here within 5 minutes. A lot of times I have an iPad, so I bring that along with me when I go on calls. So whenever we're coming back from a call or something, I'll either be studying in the ambulance or just looking up different things in my notes. It can be a lot, mainly during test week though. I don't find it a huge problem during the school year though. Don't say I can get something done later in the night if you don't know what later in the night is going to hold, because you don't know when a 911 call is going to go out. I haven't found it to be too overly bearing on me, but I would much rather do this than any other part-time job around town. So we get a lot of calls just helping a lot of college kids. You know, when the college basically doubles the town's population, gives you a lot more calls to go there. That's a very common theme. Obviously we deal with our elderly population a lot.
For those students interested in joining the EMS team, the station has an option for you.
So they're going to have a class here in Vermilion at this station. Hopefully someday soon we can get it so where students can actually get credit for it as well. If I had to say anything to someone who is even interested in EMS, I would say at least join a class, start in it, see if you're interested in it. If you are, take that leap of faith and join it. Don't think it's going to be too much. You don't want to regret not doing something that is definitely going to have an impact on you, and you're going to have an impact on someone else. You will change a life and do something different with somebody. So,
if you'd like to have an impact, reach out to the Vermilion EMS team. Reporting for Coyote News, I'm Grant Robertson.
Thanks, Grant. For those interested in becoming a student EMT, you can contact the Vermilion Fire EMS Department. Volleyball was 3-0 at their home opener.
That's right, Rachel. When we return, Kyle and Sydney will have details on the game and more.
This is Coyote News.
This is Coyote Sports. I'm Kyle Ireland.
And I'm Sydney Funderman. The Coyotes had some big wins over the weekend, and we have details.
The Coyote football team's preparing for their trip to the West Coast to take on Cal Poly on Saturday. The Yotes are coming off a dominant win against Northern Arizona. Freshman quarterback Carson Camp threw for 213 yards and a touchdown, as well as picking up 26 yards on the ground. Elijah Reed started the game off strong with an interception. The defense recorded 8 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions, capping off their stellar performance. USD scored early and often, putting them up by 27 at halftime. They added to their lead to start the third quarter with a Jonathan Joannis pick 6. The Lumberjacks were able to get on the board late in the third, but that's all they could manage against a very tough Coyotes defense. The Yotes will be back in action against Cal Poly this Saturday at 1 o'clock.
The volleyball team hosted the South Dakota Classic inside the SCSC this past weekend. The Coyotes struck gold, winning all of their matches, winning 3-0 against Bradley, 3-0 against Central Arkansas, and 3-2 against Milwaukee. They faced their toughest competition in their third and final match against Milwaukee. USD traded points back and forth, splitting the first two sets, both by 25-21. The third set was all Panthers, but a strong fourth set led to a tie-breaking fifth. The Coyotes came out on top 15-12, in big thanks to a Division I best 19 total team blocks. The volleyball team will be in Wichita, Kansas this weekend to participate in the Shocker Classic. They'll be taking on Wichita State Friday at noon and will be facing Creighton and Wyoming on Saturday.
Games are in full swing, which means the Coyote Crazies are too. Coyote News' Philip Larson is live outside the President's all-campus picnic with the group's leader. Phil?
Thanks, Kyle. I'm here with Quincy Gaylor, president of the Coyote Crazies. Quincy, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So the trip to Kansas was a success. Do you guys have any other road trips planned for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so the trip to Kansas was really awesome. We were able to take 40 students with us down there. We had games on the bus, movies, pizza. We're really looking forward to our next trip. We're working really closely with student services and athletics to make that possible.
And as we know, the One Crazy Night was postponed. Is there any indications on when that might be rescheduled?
We're looking for our next available date right now, working with all of the athletic teams so we can have the most turnout with our sports teams and spirit teams, but we'll keep you updated and we hope to have that soon.
Great. And how is it possible for students to get involved with the Coyote Crazies?
If you want to be a part of the Coyote Crazies, you can go to the link in our bio on any of our social medias. You can go on USD Involved. Otherwise, tonight we're having our first all-member meeting at the Sanford Coyote Sports Center at 7 p.m. and everybody is welcome.
Great. Thank you, Quincy.
Thank you.
Live outside the President's Picnic, I'm Philip Larson.
Thanks, Phil.
The Coyote soccer team capped off their weekend with their 2 wins, putting their record to 4-1-2 on the year. USD defeated the Drake Bulldogs 4-1 on Friday. Shaylee Galis netted her first 2 goals of the year, with one being tabbed as the game winner. On Sunday, the Coyotes beat Northern Iowa during Senior Day 1-0 on a Jordan Centineo goal early in the second half. The Yotes will be back in action at the First Bank and Trust Soccer Complex, taking on the Iowa State Cyclones Sunday at 1.
The tennis team had a solid outing at the Drake Fall Invite this past weekend. Every doubles team won at least one match, with the duo of Ana Maria Buchina and Yulia Almiron Solano taking home the Flight 4 title. In singles play, the Coyotes looked strong with almost every player winning at least one match and 3 players making it to their respective flight semifinals. The tennis team will be attending the Gopher Invite on September 24th.
That's all for your Coyote sports.
Coming up on Coyote News, students told us their least favorite streaming service.
There is so much more to media and journalism than just those 2 words.
It's really shown me things that I never thought I was capable of doing, and I'm actually not too bad at it.
Even though you think you may want to do one thing, this major exposes you to everything.
The media and journalism department has helped me turn my dream into a reality by putting me in the position to succeed.
This is Coyote News.
Streaming movies and TV is a way students can get their mind off school, but some streaming services are worse than others.
In this week's Out and About, we asked students which streaming service is the worst.
Here's what they had to say.
I haven't had very good luck with Netflix. I don't think it really has a lot of shows that I personally like, so it doesn't really cater to my watching needs.
Disney Plus, because they have no new content, aside from Mandalorian.
Hulu, because of the ads.
The worst streaming service is Netflix,
because they have about 8 trillion shows, and none of them are the ones you want to watch.
I think the worst streaming service would have to be Hulu because of the ads.
Hulu, because they don't have any good movies and the shows suck.
HBO Max is gonna have to be the worst because it's way too expensive and there's nothing on there.
I would say Hulu because you get it with Spotify, but like it's just not that good.
I would say Amazon Prime just because they don't have any new and upcoming shows that people are anticipating or looking forward to.
I don't like Apple TV. That has like the worst options, I think.
I'd probably have to say like Amazon Prime because you actually have to like pay for individual movies and there's not like one solo subscription and that's it.
I don't know about my worst, but I think my favorite would have to be ESPN Plus.
Yeah, I would have to say my heart always belongs to Disney Plus. Scientists in Germany are trying to potty train 16 cows. It's no bull, 11 of the 16 cows learned to use the moo-loo when they had to urinate. It took 15 days to train the young calves. Researchers used a sweet treat to coax the cows to push through a gate and urinate in a special pen. It's a move that they hope will reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Be sure to pick up this week's issue of the Volant explaining how students made their voice heard at a rally.
That's all for Coyote News. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And watch and listen for Coyote News' daily updates throughout the week on KAOR and the Coyote News social media pages.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.